Friends, welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and guy who wants Mo,
Alex Tandino.
All right, before today's just sticky, delightful, sweet episode, a little business, everyone, it's official, we're on Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. The best way to help support us here at the show. Also the best for you. You get more out of the show if you go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. You can have your voice help craft the show this becomes, right? So you have your Patreon exclusive library where you get a vote over there on those. We have our Tales from the Griff miniseries, Tales from the Crypt, obviously. Mm-hmm. No ego involved in the naming of the title, just happened to fall that way. We have feature-length commentaries. We got all kinds of fun stuff over there for you if you go support the show. It really means the world to us. And you thought we were done after October. No. Every December, we stuff the listeners' stockings. So all of our listeners get to put a movie into the old stocking, as it were. And we draw the winners and program our entire month of December based on patron selection. So perfect time of year to be joining us at patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. The YouTube Film Alchemist, subscribe over there. The email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on, so help us complete all the social metrics that we all love to hear about. Share, retweets, post, X's, stories, all that good stuff. Help us with the metrics. We need it. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews wherever and everywhere you find pods. Help us defeat the algorithmic sweets companies that do not have our best interest at heart.
It's not wrong.
Also, guys, reach out to a friend. If you're here, you love movies, right? Reach out to one of your movie-loving friends. Let them know what we're doing. Share one of our almost 600 episodes. We're probably going to be 600 episodes deep by the end of the year. Which seems astonishing. I think we've been a 5.5-year run pod. Anywho, send them an episode. We'll take it from there. We're going to grow this thing from the grass roots. Speaking of something that grows from the roots, this month, as a palate cleanser for the October Mega Marathon, we decided it's Thanksgiving. We usually do something food or eating themed. So this month, the pod has its dessert. So we're just going to pick movies that are opulent, that are sweet, sugary treats for us. Movies that really nourish the soul, right? Alex took that literally and chose the stuff. A Larry Cohen delight. Larry Cohen, very famous director and writer, actually has some insane writing credits that you would not expect Larry Cohen to have.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff is the tale of essentially the Oreo fluff that is sentient, that grows from the middle of the earth. It's half blob, it's half pod people. It's like 10% RoboCop fake ads. But what it really is just a fucking righteous movie, man. Amazing effects. Interesting characters might not be the right word, but they're doing interesting things. And it's really just one of those movies you're like, I love the vibe of this movie. It's fucking funny. It has good action. It has good horror movie effects. So, Alex, opening thoughts on the stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like the 80s, like, anti-consumer culture horror movies. Like, some of them are a little more pointed than others, but, like, this one's really fun. And to be honest with you, I remember when the first time I ever saw anything related to this movie, I remember it was at the video aisle at Hollywood Video in Aurora. I was walking through the aisles and I saw that poster and I'm like, holy shit, what is that stuff coming out of the guy?
That's right. Great poster.
I was not compelled to rent. I just watched. I found it one random time watching TV, and thought it was hilarious. Rewatching it, there was a lot that I had forgotten, but it is like it's just a fun. It's sort of like it's like all the elements of They Live, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like it says, it's like that consumer culture element of like, oh, everyone's just eating Oreo floof. We're all gonna die, and you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not that shocking to me that 8 years later, Larry Cohen wrote a Body Snatchers movie.
Right. Yeah.
Because in the original Body Snatchers idea, right, it was kind of a communism is coming for us, and then it kind of changed culturally. Right? In the 70s, it's like we're becoming our parents almost, right? Like now we have jobs and work for the government, man. We've been co-opted. In this one, it just was like the Reagan era, the Gordon Gekko greed is good shit, where we just watch people fucking crushing fluff.
It's why Invasion of the Body Snatchers works decade after decade because like there's always something in the consumer culture that turns us into quote zombies.
Well, there's always something. Yeah, this one is very pointed at us, right? Because they have this, we're binge eating the stuff. We can't stop, right?
Yeah.
They kind of hint that the stuff is behind that, but also just our culture. And I thought one of the best parts of the movie is they add this, what they're doing over on, whatever it is, Main Street or whatever, where the ad agency is doing these really fucking amazing ads. There's like this old lady who's in like a glamour shot, and she's like, I thought I was all put out. I thought I was too old. And now all I want is the stuff. And it's it's like this weird, like, is she talking about dick? And it's like, no, she's talking about stuff. And she says, it's called the stuff. And enough is never enough. And then it goes through all of these ads, which are fucking hilarious. They have great jingles. There's the one where it's like the stuff is just graffitied on the wall. And it like took me back to this. I was like, I remember when they were trying to run this like, oh, now it's like street and cool, right?
Yeah.
And like they couldn't figure out where they were marketing. But you just watch this blanket where they're like, we're going to hit them on every level. And if you don't have the stuff, which essentially looks like Cool Whip, you're not cool. And not only if you don't have it, but if you don't have a fucking ton of it. And so the original Body Snatchers was if you turn your back or people aren't watching you, you get pulled in the dark. I think the pointed nature of this is the gluttony, right? It's like, you fucking fat pieces of shit. Like Body Snatchers, if we were chasing the alien pods around to eat them. You know what I mean?
Body Snatchers is like, we'll replace you with a better version of you. Like, that's what we want to do is like improve upon this world. The stuff and like movies like it is about like the overconsumption, quite literally, of consumer culture. So when you have like, and I mean like, again, I think the ad work is
ad work is fucking, it's not RoboCop good, but it's fucking awesome.
Nothing's ever going to be RoboCop.
No, RoboCop is the pinnacle of fake.
It stands alone. But this is,
maybe Cheddar Goblin, like there's some good ones.
There's some great stuff. This is like so specifically pointed towards every demographic. It's like, oh, the stuff can get everybody. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, you will consume the stuff. And I think that's like such a key component of the story itself is it's an undiscriminating substance. And it all like it is I can't think of anything really in the modern era that is like ubiquitously like, oh yeah, we all eat that.
Yeah, I was trying to look up some of the best fake ads in movies. They're kind of funny, right? They've got Globo Gym. They've got Swallow Valley Mall from Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. Okay, Buzz Lightyear.
Sure.
Let's see. Wacky Waving Inflatable 2-Bar Man from South Park. Who you going to call? The Ghostbusters commercial?
Yeah, Ghostbusters is probably the most like...
Magna Volt from RoboCop 2. Let's see. Evita from Zoolander. That's fucking good. Porn for Women from 30 Rock. That was...
You know what? That's true. 30 Rock has some of the better... 30 Rock does have some pretty good ads.
Mr. Plow from The Simpsons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Coming Attractions from Tropic Thunder. All right, so these are good. But I would argue this is better. This should be on the list. I will say, I don't think it's a very subtle, but definitely a very pointed attack at us. That if you think about what the fluff does, right? Like, Mo has that great line at the end. Where we've done this whole journey, and now he's got, like, a duster, so he's, like, more Humphrey Bogart. And the kid whose family's been murdered, Which is like the weirdest like B plot is like there's just a kid in Jersey who's like gonna go on this. We'll get to that, but he's got a little like fucking tough baseball kid jacket, like he's in the Warriors, so now he's tough. And they make the executives in charge of the stuff, and now the taste eat a bunch of the stuff, right? And Mo just goes, "You got to ask yourself, are you eating it or is it eating you?" Like, and I was like, "What a great fucking line!" But you come back, and essentially, if you think about what the stuff does, is we just eat it religiously like big fucking losers. We're just, rah, 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 rah. For all our food, we eat the stuff. And what does it do? Literally nothing except for when it wants us to chase someone with a stick, we do. And then if they punch or kick us, fucking chocolate chip Charlie style, we're just filled of a fucking gooey, useless substance. So what this movie is saying is that the fluff, while it's replacing our innards, is not replacing anything of value.
No, it doesn't. It
like specifically, nothing valuable is lost.
It like liquefies all the stuff that is worthwhile, but like keeps it keeps the husk of it keeps the husk of waste that we all just traipse around in. I don't know.
We see the heads explode and there's no brain anymore. But yet all these people are still holding their jobs, parenting, in marriages, running general stores. So, like, they're saying literally our brains are fucking useless because of consumerism. Anywho.
Again, this is like, I love this subgenre of movies from the 80s. Like, this, like, pastiche or metaphor for American consumer culture in horror movies from specifically the 80s. Like, it's really fun. Like, and the stuff, like, anything about, like, how we're just dedicated to whatever. Like, dedicated to whatever we are interested in is absolutely fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, and again, like, the other thing, too, that I love is it's almost always a kid who realizes that it's wrong. Like, something's wrong. And, like these movies particularly, and this one, too. There's always a child who goes, all this seems bad, doesn't it? And you're just like...
Well, he sees it move, and he's like, I don't love that. And then his dad's just like, get your little bitch ass out of here, and spanks him. And he's like, that's it, crusade time. Crusade time. Like, that's all it takes is, like, one night vision and a little bad parenting. And he's like, I'm going to that grocery store like John Wick, and I'm going to fuck this store.
There's... The idea, just in general.
By the way, dude, when he's wrecking that store and we see, what's his name? Fucking Talk Radio is one of the clerks. Love that bit, dude.
Yeah.
I forget that guy's name. But yeah, he's just running around the store. He sees this little kid just eating it, and he's like, fuck that, fuck you. And he just starts destroying the store. It takes 4 fucking clerks to bring him down. That scene is awesome.
That's a kid who's going to turn into John Wick. He's going to live his life as John Wick. I also
Jersey Wick.
I also love the casting of Michael Moriarty. Like, he's such a weird actor for this kind of thing. The guy who plays Mo, sorry. He's such a strange actor because...
Well, my wife kept saying, why is he doing a Jimmy Stewart impression? And I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, she's not wrong. I mean, Amy is correct. Like, it's just...
Like, imagine if Harvey was actually just made of the stuff. That's what my wife was seeing.
I mean, yeah, imagine it's the man who shot Liberty Valance, but he's just like shooting it.
But every bullet is just stuff coming out. Yeah.
He's just shooting at Oreo floof. Like, again, it's just so it's just so pointed. Like, it is like very specifically is like, we all should eat less. I'm gonna like Larry Cohen literally was like, we should all eat less. I'm gonna make a movie about everyone who eats Oreo floof, and let's talk about...
But I honestly think they should have cast, like, young Arnold. Like, you should have cast a Jack guy and just make the movie like he's judging fat people. Like, if you're going to do it all the way. Like, Mo Rutherford does not look like a man who eats extremely healthy.
No. I mean,
you know what I mean?
He looks like he eats a lot of pistachios. Like, a lot.
I was going to say, like, fucking... rib sandwiches. Like, get
like
someone jacked.
But like a McRib.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm on the road and I just want Mo and Mo. If you always want Mo, eventually you're going to need Mo electricity for your rascal. Like, that's where this goes.
that kid. So when the kid discovers his parents are just like being subsumed by this stuff and runs away.
Yeah, his dad is like in shape.
Yeah. Parents look great, by the way.
We need some obese actors in this movie.
All they're doing is like everyone who's eating floof.
Or maybe it's a forward movie. Because it's not just a fat shaming joke.
Well, the dad does say it's probiotic, so it's okay.
Oh, it's like health junkies.
Yeah, so maybe that's
it's like those California don't vaccinate my kid moms.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Yeah, like it's sort of. I'm not going to get into that, but yes. There was like when the stuff like subsumes the family, like the dinner table's just that bowl of stuff, and they're just like spooning it. It's after he's dumped it down the toilet and everything. Oh yeah, because
he's trying to eat Barbasol to get out of it, and then fucking pukes in Rutherford's car.
Yeah, great scene, by the way.
Great scene.
But so this is preceded by him running out of the house, and his parents are like. And then he just gets in Michael Moriarty's car, and I'm like, in the 80s, was this not problematic? Was this like a thing? Like, I think that was a huge note. That was a huge note I wrote down. It was like, he just ran into that guy's car. Like in the 80s, it was like, my parents are like absolutely converted to eating the stuff. I'm just going to go to this random guy's car.
He didn't offer him candy, but he did say, I saw it move too. And the kid doesn't stop and say, what's moving? About? Yeah, what? What are we talking about, guy in a trench coat?
Tell me that wasn't the first thought you had when he said that.
Do you look like movie Dahmer? We're going to go watch a tape of stuff commercials. No,
we watched Return of the Jedi. You like Return of the Jedi?
It was, that was a wild time back then. That's just how we lived. But his parents were trying to murder him.
They were.
So I guess in that moment, it's less stranger danger and more familial danger. Yeah,
I guess that's a real toss up in my opinion.
Am I gonna risk seeing a dick in the wild, or being fucking crammed full of stuff? Neither are a good path. This is not a good decision.
Like what Michael Moriarty's like, what Mo was doing. He was like a corporate raider. I think for a long time I just thought he was the kid's dad, like because I just hadn't seen this movie in a long time. I was like, oh, weird. He's just this corporate raider who's like
he's like a lawman, right?
Yeah.
I think I remembered him as a lawman. No, he is a corporate
raider. He's like an
ex-FBI
agent.
Right, because essentially Big Ice Cream's like, we got to get out in front of this stuff. We can't steal their secrets. It can't be analyzed, blah, blah, blah. So we have to get out in front of it, right?
Yeah.
They hire Mo Green. His friends call him Mo because that's what he always wants, Mo. And he goes out and essentially is like, hey, ad exec, I want to buy your company and put you in charge. She's like, get me a blow me dress. You know what I mean? And some fuck me heels. I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden, she's just part of the mission. Like after he's like, yeah, I lied to you 100%. We skip this scene where it's like, meet me at my hotel, right? With their dueling limo conversation.
Yeah.
We skip all that. He takes her to the lab and she's just like, I might have helped kill people. And he's like, I got to go check on a kid. Kisses her. So we know that the fucking dicking went down. So he's just like really kind of a scummy guy, just running around lying and getting into mischief. But yeah, it is funny because this movie settles on it's anti-capitalism and greed and gluttony, right?
Right.
But at the end of the film, you cannot argue the two forces that saved America were capitalism,
definitely
right?
Capitalism,
and conspiracy theorists. So it is a fucking bizarre place for the movie to land, which is these two things which now are destroying us. That's what saved us back in the 80s. So in the end, it becomes a movie that's like, actually, everything we said is wrong. If you just have enough capitalism, your enemies will destroy the stuff.
Right.
And a racist, rapist, military man who owns his own fucking network to peddle his conspiracies will be believed by the masses and they will rise up and defeat the stuff. So, yeah, capitalism and conspiracies will save us, which is not where I thought this movie was going to end on my bingo card.
I mean, again, I had forgotten so much about this movie. I had completely forgotten Paul Sorvino was in it as like the like as like the Colonel Kurtz
Spears
of the stuff.
Yeah, there is a moment where they start blowing up the stuff and driving the truck around, and you're like, oh, okay, it's almost over. And then you're like, nope, there's like 35 more minutes of this movie.
Oh yeah,
I'm baffled. And then all of a sudden, we go in the middle of nowhere, and it's like this fucking Abbey. It's like a scene from Saving Private Ryan.
When he goes again, it's like Apocalypse Now. He goes to the Abbey and meets this like crazy like fortified fortress Colonel Kurtz guy, played by Paul Sorvino. And I did pause the movie. I was like, oh, this has got to be the end. No, there is literally like a half hour of the movie left.
There's like a whole mission left.
What else is there to say? Like, this is crazy.
What there's left to say is when he shows up and he's like, hey, Colonel Spears, I'm here. I need your help with this. It's not an alien per se. It's like an earthborn creature.
It's like a parasitic.
Well, it's also like an environmental story, right? Like the earth has down in its bowels crafted. It has forged the monster with which to kill modern man, which is desserts. Right?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to fucking kill you with dessert. But he's like, hey, man, I need your help. And Paul Sorvino's like, I could just kill you and throw you off this tower. And he goes, ooh, but I do have those tapes of you banging a 17-year-old African-American girl. Okay. And I go, wait, what?
That scene, by the way, where they're like sort of just whispering to each other all these things. I'm like, when that happened, I had to rewind and I'm like, did he just say that he totally has like a tape of him just like,
dude,
fully committing sexual crimes?
It is fucking wild that we just kind of throw this in. And then within a minute or two, because he starts stroking his ego, he's like, America needs you. And you're like, is this guy even a part of the military structure anymore? I think this is a militia. And then he goes downstairs and he grabs, he's like, hey, maybe after I win this fight, you can fucking reward me proper, to the advertising lady. Goes in for a kiss. And Mo stops him and he's like, no, Mo will be a casualty. We're definitely going to bang. And proceeds to like hold her hand through the rest of the raids. It's fucking wild, right? It is wild. And then he goes to, we get in these planes, which we don't know where he gets planes. He has fucking cabs pick up his entire platoon. This scene is low-key underrated hilarious. They get in like 6 cabs and the cab's like, where are we going? And he just goes, that's enough of your liberal cuck remarks. Shut up and drive. Because he's like, how to drive all these guys with machine guns? They're driving through neighborhoods with their fucking machine guns out the window, right? 6 cabs pull up to his radio station. The townsfolk scurry away, which I had forgotten.
Yeah.
So this guy is 100% like an on-the-fringe militiaman that kind of people knew about, and when they see him, they are terrified. He goes into his radio station. He's like, I got to start spouting conspiracies. Chocolate Chip Charlie shows up, and his face drops, and I just go, no. I was like, they're not going to have him go in on Chocolate Chip Charlie, right? And immediately, I'll let this colored man talk. And I go,
it was so awkward. It was so it's one of the like the whole like, and I think like Garrett Morris is awesome. Like Garrett
he's giving him like the fucking full Tony Soprano every time AJ does anything anger.
Yeah, and Garrett Morris is like fucking hilarious.
Garrett Morris, under heralded actor, amazing in this movie.
We really don't talk enough about how great Garrett Morris is. Just
we will talk about him, but we need to tie up a bow on this fucking horrendous Paul Sorvino.
But the Paul Sorvino thing is like, again, it's such a weird, like Colonel Kurtz awkward. I've never understood it. It is like this. I know it's part of the main plot, but doesn't it feel like we're like sometimes when when it happens, I'm like, did a different movie start? I remember the first time I watched it, like, I think this is a new movie.
It is bizarre because it even has this odd like musical sting when his troops come out of the grass.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now are we doing a Monty Python bit? It's also a weird thing for him to like talk shit to Chocolate Chip Charlie. And you're like, all right, Chocolate Chip Charlie's hands are lethal weapons. He's going to fuck up Paul Sorvino and it'll be great.
Right.
But when you immediately, the scene after that, make Chocolate Chip Charlie part of the stuff, and like his inner white monster comes out, or he is a commie, and Paul Sorvino is like the hero helping save them out of the room, I was like, that I don't love.
Yeah, that's not like
I love the effects of Chocolate Chip Charlie birthing the stuff. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I think in that moment, this movie, it's one of those things that just doesn't age wonderfully, where it's like you can't have the racist conspiracy theory rapist colonel
Be the
actually
hero?
be a hero. Like, you cannot have it. This movie, he has to be working for the stuff. He cannot be the one who is defeating this lone African-American character whose business that he worked up hard to gain was gotten through chicanery.
Well, and that's
become
what
an
I
agent of the
thought.
stuff.
That from like I couldn't remember it at all. I thought we was going to get to the point where it was like, oh, the stuff is definitely taking over the military.
As soon as Charlie closes that door behind him and the ad agency lady, I was like,
that's
no,
when I was like, fuck.
no,
Yeah.
no.
That is one of those moments, because especially the way it's shot, like the way the way the camera's positioned on Charlie, you're like, it's going down. God damn it! Like it's gonna happen, and Paul Sorvino is gonna get to be a creep still and save the day. It's very unfair.
And get to say, see, told you so.
Yeah.
And again, we just kind of brush right past that into, he's like, the stuff is evil. Don't sell the stuff. Don't buy it. Him and Mo and the ad lady like are reading the copy.
Yeah.
And they cut to the ad lady who's like, and the people did believe. The people did believe. And I go, what? Like, imagine Alex Jones comes on the radio tomorrow and he's like, hey, man, those chocolate cheese fondue fountains at Golden Corral,
Yeah.
they're full of aliens.
Full of aliens.
And then imagine the next thing we hear is John Oliver. He was right. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, what a world.
The day,
what an unusual world.
It's such
we
a
live in.
strange. It's such a strange thing, especially for a movie about like consumer culture in the '80s, to say that.
Because he's kind of like
world-
a Rush Limbaugh at this era, like a proto Rush Limbaugh. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think what's fascinating to me, and again, like culturally, it's just so weird that in a movie about consumer culture in the middle of the '80s, they're saying anybody using like a ham radio basically is like, listen, if they tell you it's an alien, it's probably true, and everyone should listen to them. Like just carte blanche believing the press in 1985 was just strange.
That is
thing to
also
see in a
something
movie.
that has not aged. Now we're like, believe the press? What?
Yeah,
No.
what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that institution has taken a battering. Not even for any other reason other than that every fucking person always is screaming about how you can never trust the press.
Right.
Neither here nor there. It is funny because I think the movie, while it does end on capitalism and conspiracy will save us, it also then turns around and shows us that the dairy guy was working with the stuff guy, and they're going to make what's called the Taste, this new repackaging and rebranding of
88% ice cream, 12% the stuff.
Yeah, so they're just going to rebrand it and sell it to us anyways. And
Addictive
you're like,
enough to kill you the normal way rather than like the way that you get killed by eating the stuff.
yeah, and you're like, that actually tracks. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
how we
cool.
do it. You cannot defeat capitalism. It'll just change forms.
Right.
And you have to eventually go get them with their own weapons.
Right.
So I don't
But-
think it's because it felt at the start, I was like, that's just a big miss to end on that message. And it's like, all right, we still watch them eat themselves to death.
Yeah, I was
so
going
like,
to
all
say,
right.
however, twist. The little
Yeah.
kid comes
well, there
in. He's
is
like,
that like not
"Eat
so
it."
subtle scene where they're blowing up the stuff pop-up restaurant right next to a McDonald's
Yeah.
that they're leaving alone. So I was like, that's fine.
Not subtle.
McDonald's at least is like letting us have our freedom to kill ourselves.
I do love like watching. I do love. He just hands them the stuff. Just eat it. Like you're like, oh, dude,
Hell yeah.
this is
dude.
just like you're gonna get them. Oh yeah.
I do love it. I do love it. Yeah, because the dad has that line too, right? Anything that's good for us is killing what's bad in us about probiotics and shit. And you're like, yeah, we're gonna see it. The only thing I thought is they just kind of left him there. I thought they would all of a sudden, explode into a stuff like thing, but instead we
Right.
end on the stuff is now sold to like street level stuff junkies.
Yeah. Which
Which I
again,
thought was kind of a cool image.
another bit of an interesting social commentary about like drug culture. Like anything that we thought was good for us slowly becomes like this black market commodity. That's
Well,
like,
it's also
oh, yeah.
like, is weed as bad for us as a lot of the shit that's legal and we do and see on every
Right.
corner? And I was like, yeah, all right.
Exactly. Yeah, we get it.
Chocolate Chip Charlie. Amazing addition to just have a man who can beat everyone's ass with his bare hands.
Love it.
Could have used more Chocolate Chip Charlie. If
I
I'm
really
being
could have
honest,
used
I would have
mostly
dropped
chocolate.
out the Colonel
Yeah.
and just kept it Chocolate Chip Charlie.
I
While the Colonel's memorable for all the wrong reasons, I would have let Chocolate Chip Charlie have some run.
I think that's the problem. I would have given Chocolate Chip Charlie the run, and he could have been like an undercover general or something like that. Like instead of like he gets there, he has his hat, he just switches the hat, and you're like, oh my god,
Garrett Morris
Chocolate
is
Chip
just
Charlie's
awesome.
a commando. Cool.
Like, he really is one of them. I'm like, why was he just not everywhere? Like, he's so fucking funny and amazing.
Yeah. Garrett
Loved
Morris?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was amazing.
He should have been. He was like one of those early SNL guys that I always saw in all the sketches, and you're like, yeah, he just kind of like disappeared from me. And it's a bummer.
It is, because he really was totally awesome.
All right, now we got to talk about the real star of the movie.
The stuff?
The fucking stuff in this movie is so... Because Amy was watching it with me, and she just goes... She was just dying laughing when the stuff was coming out of the dog. Because there's that scene where it's that other fucking famous character actor. And they're just like, why is this dude afraid of his dog, right? Why is this guy afraid of his dog? And all of a sudden, the stuff's coming out of the dog's mouth because he's trying to protect him from giving up secrets.
Oh, Danny Aiello. The Danny Aiello.
I couldn't think of his fucking name. Yeah. Great fucking cameo, right? And he's like afraid of his dog, and then the stuff comes out of his dog's face, and Amy was fucking rolling. And she just looks at me and she's like, why does every movie have to be so fucking serious now? I love that. Like, I want to see that instead of like all these perfect and anatomically correct CG renderings of the stuff. And I was like, yeah, I fucking agree. I love watching it come out of the fucking general store guy as they're punching people and the wounds are coming. That gnarly scene where they have the fucking mass like husk, right? When they raid the fucking stuff factory, there's all these empty carcasses. This movie goes for it, and it's fucking awesome.
I think all of the like stuff quote transformations. I'm not really sure how you would like quote. I'm not sure what you would call them.
Stuff
like
reveals.
Reveals. That's a good one. Yeah,
reveals.
Like the
I
stuff,
guess. Yeah.
All the stuff reveals are pretty fucking great. Like,
not
effects
like
are cool.
like amazing. Like, I fucking love
like
them.
They're really really fun. All of them are cool. Like,
and just bizarre. Like, it's in the pillow, and it's like.
I think that's the other thing too, is like because of the banal look of the substance itself, it can go anywhere. But then the coolest thing is when it like starts exploding out of people. It's like, oh my god! It's just like it is just. It's such a stark contrast.
It's got
to
some
like,
of that like '80s blob vibe, where it's like the blob can fucking move. Like the famous one. After the pillow, they learn they can light it on fire, right? For some reason, a random lumberjack runs into their room. He's like, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
But he's not part of the stuff because he gets eaten by the stuff. And so it's like, okay, that's weird. That guy was like in their bathroom. Not a stuff head or a stuffy as they start getting called. But it's the famous scene where the stuff starts erupting out of the bed.
Yeah.
Clearly they have a rotating room, right? Because you can see the extras or the stunt doubles for Mo and the ad lady are like using all of their core strength to try to not fall forward as they are just dumping gallons and gallons and like hundreds, thousands of gallons of stuff on this guy on the wall. And it's fucking awesome. I even loved when they get to the sentient like pit of stuff. If I had a big gripe with this movie, I think that last extra 35 minutes kind of pulled us out of this like awesome journey, right? So we have this crew of Jersey Wick, Chocolate Chip Charlie, Mo, Ad Lady, right? The whole thing is to get inside the stuff factory, right? Where we gotta fucking find the stuff. They did that, and it's awesome. It's this nice little thrill ride with some fucking stuff sprinkled in, right? When we get to those pits, I'm like, I want to explore this. I want to know more about the stuff. What is this stuff? Where does it come from? Why do they harvest it at specific times?
Right.
Like, do that, but instead they just blow it up real quick, steal a truck, and we just kind of restart the movie, but to no avail. I thought the stuff pits were cool. At the end, when it's like exploding, the giant blob stuff that all came out of the workers, it's like fucking exploding out of the walls and running for its life. I was like, just keep me there. I don't ever want to leave this factory for the rest of the movie.
I agree. I think that that's if there is if there's one big problem of not leaning in, it's that. Like the lean in is on the wrong thing. We're leaning into the plot of this movie. That's not the sell. I don't need that. I want to see more of the stoof.
Right. All of the subtextual jabs that are just text, those are fine. Those are good. They're flavoring.
Right.
The stuff is what we're here for. And they did so good with the stuff. I was like, give me Mo. I want Mo.
I feel like by 30 minutes in, by the time we're deep into the family stuff with the kid, you're sort of at the point where you're like, I get it. I understand what's going on. This is about consumer culture. You don't need any other commentary. Again, the Paul Sorvino stuff.
It's kind of like spray shooting at all these different American problems.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it, but what we're here for is that stuff. Yeah. It was really cool when it was in the pit and it's looking around. I was like, it should have defenses. They should have a giant kaiju stuff coming out.
Yeah,
which they kind of did, but show it in action. And I'm sure a lot of this, based on the nature, was budgetary and this and that. But
I still say the motel is the motel's the best scene in the movie for me. I just love the way the stuff moves in the motel and just starts subsuming the whatever the fucking lumberjack guy is or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool.
Again, all of it is just
what was my favorite stuff, dude? I don't know.
That's got to be my favorite stuff moment.
I like when he runs that dude over in the truck and the stuff's poof.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
That was pretty good. There's some good ones, dude.
I feel like anytime you have that reminded me of RoboCop when that one guy explodes because he's melting.
Yeah. The fact that we're all just fluff balls waiting to explode, I like that. I thought that was
great.
That was my one beef, man. This movie is just, it's so funny and the effects are so good. And the cast is surprisingly up to the challenge of knowing exactly what they're doing.
Except
which
Paul
is kind
Sorvino
of a wink and nod. Paul Sorvino's a little bit hamming it.
Paul Sorvino's in a different movie, and unfortunately, we're all.
But I don't know that he wasn't doing his assignment. How?
No.
He
Paul
supposed to do
Sorvino's
that?
doing his job, but it's also one of those things where Paul Sorvino's I think I'm in a different movie, and I think you just tagged this on at the end here, didn't you?
Right. But I think the important things is you have your stuff that you want to say. You have your stuff that is amazing and fun for us. That's great.
Yep.
And then, it's, the plot gets a little in the way, but the moments are fucking awesome. The ads are awesome. The kills are awesome. Chocolate Chip Charlie is awesome. Those final two tags, right, of making the execs eat it and the fucking street level drugs selling it. This movie is just way fucking sharper than you would expect.
Right.
I think of it there's a movie, if you watch this on Tubi, the very next thing that'll start playing is Street Trash, which is also kind of one of the, it's a little sleazier than this. Not a little, it's a lot.
Sure,
Actually, our friend, former guest of the pod, Ryan Kruger, who did Fried Berry, he's shot a remake of that now.
Oh, no shit.
Shouts out.
Wow.
But what you notice about Street Trash immediately is you're like, oh, this thing's fucking moving. The choreography and the cinematography are incredible right off the bat.
Right.
We're like, oh, this is way better than I had thought within the first couple minutes. I think the stuff falls squarely into that, where you're watching and a couple minutes in, you're like, this feels like a fucking throwaway joke, right? That just can't fucking live up to expectation. And so rapidly, you're like, oh, this movie's going to fucking kick ass. This movie's going to be awesome. And I think everything after Mo on the boat with the suits, that movie just fucking rips for the entire rest of the runtime. Even when it takes wrong turns, it's still always interesting. And you're still always engaged with the movie. I think the stuff so outkicks its coverage.
Oh, totally. I mean, without a doubt. I think that's the key element to the movie, is it could just be schlock. And it does a good job of not just falling into that sort of, all right, let's just keep the movie moving. We're just got to get to 80 minutes. We'll be fine.
Right.
It's not like that at all. And I think that's such a key component of what makes the movie work, is it's not just trying to get through the numbers. It's even when it swings and misses, it's still trying things that move the movie forward in a meaningful way. I think that's admirable and really fascinating, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just think it's a fucking great
Blast, man.
Great movie. Great addition. It's right by the October Mega Marathon, so it's got horror vibes, but it's just really fucking fun.
We're easing you guys back into the rest of the year.
We're easing you back in. Next week, another kind of chocolatey horror film, Willy Wonka next week. So be ready for that. And then we're just going full fucking Griff luxuriating, dude. Nipple pincher.
Yeah, we're going full Griffey being, I tried to stay in the fucking lane. Griff is really getting highfalutin here.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. Just bring your fucking crustiest baguette, dude. Oh.
I can just hear Griff pinching his nippies. He's just so ready.
Dry bread and existentialism, dude.
Yep,
with Amelie to wrap the month.
That's Griff.
Awesome stuff on our Patreon, our exclusives over there. Make sure you go over there, too, so you can get in your stocking stuffer picks. That's patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. So make sure you go support the show over there. Join our community, man. We are raging this time of year. We would be happy to have you. The YouTube Film Alchemist, the email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. Make sure you're leaving rating and reviews wherever you find us. Make sure you're letting your movie-loving friends know. All your movie-loving community, man. Let them know we're here and what we're up to. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time. We'll see you next week for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex T.